Now included in your frame kit is a bunch of Polonia strips which get used to build up your rail. Now the rails are installed one section at a time and get applied at 2 layers thick. This leaves us with a total of 18 millimeters for our solid rail. So that's 6 millimeters on the frame rail with an additional 2 layers of 6 millimeter Polonia on the outside. Now there are a few approaches that you could use to attach your rails depending on the nose and tail style of your board, but no matter what method you use, there's a few things that will apply. Now firstly is the glue. Like the entire build, we recommend sticking to polyurethane glue for this as it is super strong and it has good gap filling capabilities in case we have any small defects here and there. However, you could still use a wood glue here if you really wanted to, but our recommendation is polyurethane. Secondly, work 2 layers at a time. So while it might seem like a good idea to just work with one strip at a time and do it bit by bit, it's actually a bit harder to clamp up that way. When you're working with 2 layers, the second layer is actually helping support the first layer and it gets you a nicer curve radius and actually makes clamping it a little bit easier. So it might seem counterintuitive, but take it from us, working 2 layers at a time gives you better results. Now thirdly, overlap any joints, and by that we mean make sure you offset the layers of your rails so that they are applied with a joint that is offset, so we're not ending up with a straight butt joint across 2 layers. This is going to increase the strength of the joint and it's going to go a long way to making sure that your board is super strong. Now the fourth thing to keep in mind really applies to the entire build process, but it's especially important here, and that is to make sure you're working on your board supported so it's not got any twist in it, because any twist is going to get locked in right now with this rigid rail structure that we apply. So it's a good idea to work with it either on the rocker table, or if you don't have it on a rocker table, work with an offset on 2 items which are nice and parallel. Now the last thing is nose and tail blocks can save the day, and by that I mean if you can't get your rails to fully wrap around your nose profile, it doesn't matter, because what you can do is cut it off after you've started shaping and attach a solid nose block like you can see on this board here. And we'll go more into that in the next video, but do keep in mind that nose and tail blocks can be used to hide any gaps that you might end up with in the trickier areas of applying the rails. So with all that in mind, let's get into the actual process.